When I ask you the word intimacy, when I ask you what you feel about it, do you think about walking in the park, holding hands with your loved one? Do you think about going to church and praying with your wife or your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Do you think about talking about your finances or doing something fun together? Do you think about just hanging out in the park? Or do you, like most people, most teenage boys and others who still act like teenage boys, do you think of intimacy as the three little letters sex, sex? Intimacy is not just about sex. It's not just about physical, the physical act of making love or sex. Intimacy has a lot of different moving parts. And over the next 6 episodes plus, I'm going to talk about the 6 pillars of intimacy that were brought forth by Tony and Elisa DeLorenzo. These are people I've met before. They actually ran a marriage group that I was part of for a long time, and I met some friends through. And it was called One Extraordinary Marriage. They have a podcast. They do lots of great things. And their concept, their ideas, their claim to fame is they saw intimacy as a deeper and more nuanced thing than just sex. They have 6 pillars listed where they break it down more the more you read into it. So they have emotional intimacy, which is sharing thoughts, feelings, okay? Physical intimacy, loving touch, holding hands, hugging, kissing, cuddling. I didn't say sex, just said financial intimacy, sharing money, talking about money, spiritual intimacy, sharing beliefs, religious beliefs, just beliefs in general, recreational intimacy, going out to the park, doing something physical together, riding bikes, just doing something that you enjoy together, going on a cruise. And then, of course, sexual intimacy. So every day I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth in how each one of these pillars I deal with it, or how I look at it, how I perceive it, and what I've learned from this series, and what maybe you can understand. I know a lot of people who are in relationships who aren't married but are thinking about it, or are married, and sometimes they just kind of bang their head up against the wall because they don't know what they're missing. So I thought, hey, my marriage isn't perfect. No one's is. But my wife and I have found balance over the years. We've found good things. We've had we found bad things. And what we've learned is through talking about it, through working through these steps, it's helped us not just survive, but thrive most days. So today we're going to talk about, of course, the first one, right? And emotional intimacy. It's supposed to be about vulnerability. It's supposed to be about, exposing yourself, that raw nerve, the real you. But let's be honest, it's 2025. Vulnerability has, a content calendar. We used to cry to our partners. Now we cry to our followers. And then we refresh every 5 seconds to see if, someone's commented, "You go girl," or "You're so strong," or "You're so brave." We worked on getting followers to care about us and people we don't know to care about us. But really what we should be working towards is having that emotional intimacy with the people who are with us, the people we should care about, the people who are there with us every day. And yet, for all the sharing, we've never been more emotionally constipated. We can post our deepest fears on Instagram stories, but saying them loud, lonely, out loud, too risky. Someone might actually respond. Telling your spouse, "Hey, I feel alone. I don't feel like we're connecting." We don't want to do that, but we'll tell Instagram that, or we'll tell TikTok that, or we'll tell YouTube that. But we don't want to tell the person who loves us, "Hey, I just don't feel together right now." God forbid we do that. We've mastered the language of intimacy, or at least the BuzzFeed version of it. We don't fight anymore. We process. We don't get mad. We set our boundaries. We don't say, hey, you hurt me. We say, this pattern I've noticed, your energy is all wrong. You need to work on your energy towards me. We talk about our feelings like we're a detached third party, analyzing, observing a lab rat. I've noticed some sadness in your body and your body language lately. Yeah, okay. So if you look sad and your body language is sad, it's called being human. It's not a weather report. It's called being a human and alive. So deal with it. Therapy has become like emotional capitalism. We outsource our introspection of each other, how we talk to each other. Instead, we outsource it to someone we can Venmo $150 to for an hour, and then quote them in arguments that we have with our spouse. Well, my therapist says. Well, your therapist isn't actually here with us. Okay, they're not getting involved. Instead, they're being paid by you to do something productive. You can also do, God told me that we need to be doing things differently. You're right, maybe he did, but you have to have that open relationship with your spouse or with your loved one to where when you talk like that, not only do they believe you, but they don't see it as a cop-out. Because when you communicate with each other, sometimes you say things your spouse either doesn't believe or doesn't want to hear, and you need to figure out how to work around that. We used to build emotional intimacy through shared experiences. Now we build it through shared playlists and matching anxiety disorders. We text paragraphs but can't maintain eye contact for 10 seconds. We open up by sending memes that sort of express our trauma, but not enough to make things, awkward. It's not that we don't want connection. It's that we want it with control. We want to be understood, but only through curated lighting and the right filter. Our emotional intimacy is digital, high speed, low bandwidth. We don't have conversations just to have a conversation. We don't meet with someone to connect with them. We meet with them to get our garbage out, to spit out what we need to say. And when they try to respond, we usually try to shut them down because we're not ready. We're not at a safe place to hear what they need to say right now. Let's circle back to that. All that stuff, that's not really what being emotionally intimate is about. It's about exposing that raw nerve. Modern relationships, modern emotional intimacy, it isn't the way we are created to do things. This is how it looks. Two people with self-diagnosed attachment style disorders trying to communicate effectively while secretly Googling what effective communication means. We've turned emotional intimacy and emotional honesty into a performance metric. Did I express my needs clearly? Did I validate their perspective? Did I sound emotionally literate enough to deserve their love? All of that is baloney. It's just silly. We wake up every day, you're with your loved one or your loved one is somewhere else, and you don't think to yourself, well, today I need to make sure I connect with them on this level, and afterwards we'll talk about it and digest what we talked about. Emotional intimacy is more than that. It's not using catchphrases. It's not using, politically correct terms. It's getting down and dirty with a person you love. Instead, we're connecting like customer service. Your call is very important to us. Please wait. We've just lost touch. So here's the real problem. Emotional intimacy isn't about saying the right words. It's about being seen, the real you, the raw, unfiltered, kind of horrifying version of yourself that can't be cropped, captioned, or filtered. But that's terrifying So instead, we build relationships out of emojis, safe phrases, and hoping no one notices we're terrified of being known. Maybe we don't lack emotional intimacy. Maybe we just lack the tolerance for silence. The kind that happens when someone's really trying to understand you and you can't hide behind a screen. So pillar one is emotional intimacy, the thing we claim to crave but barely stand to experience. When people, during COVID, what we did was we got behind our phones and we FaceTimed. That's where TikTok really blew up. FaceTime, we had Zoom meetings, all this stuff, and we stopped getting the human connection. This hurt us in school, it hurt us in work, but really where it hurt us was with our spouses and the people who were close to us, our family. We stopped trying to have that one-on-one, that touch, that feel, sitting on your bed, on the edge of your bed with your loved one and just sitting there and listening, looking them in the eye and understanding and trying to figure out their pain, their stress, their love, their hates, their joy, their happiness, all of it. We stopped trying to get to that point. We just, how quickly can we come up with something snarky to say or sarcastic to say? How quickly can we find a meme or a video that fits that narrative? We stopped just stopping. We stopped sitting there and enjoying the company of the person we love. Sitting quietly, looking at the person you love, hearing their voice, understanding them, trying to feel their pain. Maybe not understanding their pain, but feeling it, understanding that they're in pain, understanding that they're happy, understanding their joy. Example. My wife is a therapist. She's got to do so many hours before she can become a big therapist. Okay, she's a medium-sized one now. So when she gets to be a big therapist, she has to have so many hours. And she's close now. She's real close. And the other day, she told me how close she was. Now, I could have just said, yeah, great. I tried to make sure that I heard her and I know how important this is for her. And so I really tried to give her the encouragement, the great job, and mean it. A lot of us say great job or good job or we're proud of you, but we don't really mean it. We just say it because we know it's the thing we're supposed to say. But when you mean it and you're connected to that person that you're saying it to, they know you mean it. They know what you're doing. They know what you're saying. They feel your love. And that's the point. Now, am I the perfect husband? No, I'm not. None of us are. My wife's not perfect. I think she is, but she knows she's not. But what we try to do is communicate. Hey, Lynn, I'm struggling with, or hey, I got this, or I was able to get this. These are all things we talk about, and sometimes we're busy. Sometimes we do shut down. I'm not always perfect as a listener, but what I try to do is be a better listener. Do it better more often than not. If I listen well 9 times out of 10, I give myself a little pat on the back. It's not perfect, but I'm there. We went on a cruise with some friends that we met from the group from One Extraordinary Marriage. And when we joined the group, I was skeptical. I was skeptical because what am I doing? This is a group about sex. Sex is not the only thing. It's one of the things, but not the important things. Anyway, we met this group, these 2 people. They had the same anniversary as us, same date, same year, everything. When we joined the group, we were having communication issues. We were having issues with understanding one another. And I really felt like this was an our problem, an us thing. Only, no one gets us. We learned in the group that a lot of people have these issues. And then we started spending more time with this one couple. And we realized that not only do they have the same problems as us, they struggle with the same conversations. They have the same, conversations about money, kids, grandkids. They don't have grandkids yet, but kids. They have the same struggles with talking about physical intimacy. They talk about, they struggle with spiritual intimacy. All the things we struggle with, they do too. And what I think we forget sometimes as a couple, and these can go for couples as young as, I know someone named Haley. She's in a relationship. She hasn't been in a relationship long. And there's probably a lot more of those honeymoon moments where it's their first time doing something. But I bet they still struggle with communication sometimes because we're human. Humans struggle. We are born to listen and to communicate and to talk and to touch and to feel and to do. But sometimes we're scared. And now some people are, oh, you're grumpy. No, it's fear. You're scared of opening up, exposing that nerve, that raw feeling, right? And what we've learned through the 6 pillars and through talking with people and dealing with this is everyone's scared, and it's okay. What gets us to be better is to say, I'm afraid to talk to my wife about this, or I'm scared to talk about this. Doing it anyway, and knowing that your loved one will support you and be there for you when you say it. They don't just run away. They don't just hide. Now, the first couple times you do it, they might. But the more you do it, what you realize is they're not going anywhere. My wife and I have been through a lot of crazy in 30 plus years. But we're still here. We will not give up. So that's what we're going to talk about over the next 6 episodes. Each pillar and how each pillar strengthens you. A pillar is something that holds up a building, a roof, the Colosseum, the Parthenon. These are all pillars of strength. And that's what this is about. The next pillar we're going to talk about tomorrow is physical intimacy, or as we call it now, the awkward hugging, followed by mutual phone checking. It's the whole you hug, you hold hands, you touch, but then you kind of feel awkward because sometimes you're doing it at the weird moment. It's okay. Being weird and you're in love, it's okay. It works for everybody. Until then, remember this, okay? I'm going to leave you with this. If you're not ready to be emotionally available, say, hey. Don't say, hey, I'm emotionally unavailable. Say you're buffering, okay? Say, you're working on it. It's slow. Don't just give up. Don't just run away. If you have to slow down, if you have to be patient with it, hey, honey, I love you. Struggling with all this. I'm going slow. I'm buffering, but I'm there. I'm there for you, babe. And I'll do my best to always be there to support you. Till next time.